Hello. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Happy to see you, for people I didn't see yesterday. So, EDF, I will start firstly to explain you what is EDF for people who didn't know. I'm not sure, but perhaps I have some slide explaining the EDF Group. So EDF is more or less more than 170 people who work in the EDF Group. And it is across more or less 30 countries in the world, in the 5 continents all over the world. So, what is activity of EDF? Is the main activity is the producer of electricity, as you know. But the main objective of EDF is to produce what we call carbon-free electricity. So to succeed to produce this 90% of carbon-free electricity, EDF use essentially for 76% the nuclear power plant. Okay. So today I will try to explain how we use the 3 experience tool, focusing on the nuclear part. So in EDF, we have a real big challenge we didn't have since more or less 30 years. And it has started in 2018. To explain, we have 3 big principal family of reactor. What we call the EPR, the biggest one. The second one is a middle size, is what we call EPR 1200. And the last one, the new one, the smaller one, is what we call SMR, or New World, is a commercial name. New World SMR. SMR, Small Modular Reactor. It's a new approach to have a modular reactor. You can put several reactors together. So these 3 family of reactors are the same, are common, and the highest standard of safety, because for us it's very important, the safety of the reactor. And for that, it's based on the same technology, what we call generation 3 plus, or it's not 7, but we stop at 3 at EDF. But in nuclear is the highest we have today. So some company project work on the generation 4, but EPR or our reactor currently is generation 3 plus. So where we have a project of EPR in Europe, we have 1 EPR in commercial operation in Finland since 2 years. We have also in Finland some project of New World SMR. We have 2 EPR in construction in UK. Or one is clearly in construction. The second one, they start the construction this year. And in France, we have 1 EPR connected to the network. So it's planned to be fully in commercial mode in July. And we have 6 EPR in development, in design phase, and 8 EPR in addition of an option plus 8 EPR. What you have to understand is when I said you just before the challenge for EDF. We didn't build new reactors since 30 years. So the challenge is here for us, for EDF. We have built one in Finland and one in France, but clearly we changed the scaling. We have 2 in parallel now. We have 2 in England and 6 in France secured, plus 8 in addition to be constructed and produced. So that's the global view of EDF.
So, sorry, I did not introduce you. So, Jean-Pierre, he's managing and in charge of digital strategy in EDF. So, I have one question for you, the first one. I have many. How the 3D experience platform with NETVIBES and Innovia help you to achieve your objectives, being more data-driven organization and process?
So, for that, in 2018, closely, EDF with our partner Dassault decided to launch a PLM project. And as you know, the tool, it was based in 3D experience, clearly. But we have implemented during several years, 5 years, a lot of processes inside 3D experience. Firstly, for engineering activities, to define all the engineering of the EPR reactor. Currently, all these processes are in 3D experience, are used by several hundred of users, but these processes generate a lot of data in 3D experience. A lot of data produced daily in 3D experience. So, 2 years ago, we conclude we need to give access to this big amount of data produced daily in 3D experience. And it was a real challenge for EDF. So we have decided with Dassault to take the challenge. And to answer to the challenge, we have initiated with Dassault to see how NETVIBES can answer to the challenge. So we have decided 2 axes, 1 pilot, in order to demonstrate how NETVIBES can help engineer in EDF. And we have also a challenge to go in the same direction than Dassault system, is to go to the cloud. So last year, we have launched the project, and I will detail a little bit more if you want.
That was my question.
Exactly.
Can you give us more concrete details on that?
So I will focus on the pilot, the first axis, the pilot. So the pilot was, the objective of the pilot is to demonstrate by use cases, so exactly 8 use cases, on requirement management. On a reactor, we have hundreds and hundreds of requirements defining a product. A product is more or less 5,000 systems, and is millions of components and more materials in one EPR. So this amount of objects, unique objects, we focus on the pilot on the requirement management processes. So for that we have created more or less, we have created 8 use cases, and so 8 data perspectives. So the first one, it was about what we call the use case requirement analysis. The main objective is to show really a transversal and global view of the requirement definition. The second one is requirement quality analysis. or more during the engineering phase. We will work for the next step later when we will build really the reactor. But on this data perspective is to show how requirements are well declined across the product of EPR. So the third one, it was what we call volatility. What does it mean? For us, it's very important to have an overview, a full view of the history of the requirement. We have now, with this data perspective, we are able to secure the maturity of each requirement defining a system. Another use case, it was about component analysis, and that is the capacity to cross-search component and related requirements. The other one, it was modification analysis. That it is very important for us also. It was how we secure or how we analyze, we secure that a change is well implemented in the requirement. Because we have, due to a lot of amount of system, we change requirement. We have to track all the change are well implemented on the requirement definition. And the last one in this pilot was the interface analysis. One also of the key processes is the interface management. And for us, interface is more or less two requirements between two systems. So, simplification, I'm sorry. But nevertheless, is the capacity to highlight discrepancy on requirements related to interfaces. So that it was the scope of the use case. We have decided with Dassault system to develop, to put in place in order to demonstrate how NetVibes can help the engineer in EDF. So,
yeah. So two challenges you mentioned: leveraging and leveraging the data that you have, huge data you have, and the second one is about cloud.
Yes.
And you have a very pragmatic approach to the cloud.
Yes.
Can you tell us more about it?
So we are close to the previous presentation of Dassault Aviation. Why? Because we have restricted data. So it was one of the challenges for Dassault. We were okay to go to cloud, but we have restricted data to manage. So one of the challenges was really for us to secure the infrastructure installed on cloud for all the users in EDF. So to summarize, after discussion and thank you for of R&D of Dassault system, but to sum up what we have done, we have kept our 3D platform on-premise where all the data are produced, 100 million of objects are on-premise. And we have also a requirement of third-party data from other systems, like Primavera, like construction, all these aspects. All these data, on-premise or also on cloud for the third system, are indexed to the 3D experience platform on cloud. So this capability, called hybrid in EDF, but it was very interesting for us because there is several advantages for EDF. The first one, we don't need to upgrade at the same rhythm the on-premise 3D experience platform. and the own cloud managed by Dassault themselves, Dassault system guys themselves. So we have a deconnection of upgrade, and we have the advantage to have all the new features developed by the new version on cloud version. The other advantage is working, we can say very well. What I want to say, we are clearly capability to index daily with an incremental solution a lot of millions of the objects. Clearly, it's working well. We have the data on the cloud available for the end user. So this, what the solution called supplemental crawler, for us, is installed on-premise side in EDF system. And this sophisticated technology goes more or less smoothly for us. We were not fully convinced at the beginning, but thanks to Dassault R&D, thanks on EDF side, we succeed to put in place this infrastructure to answer completely to the need. Last point, but key point, two requirements on this infrastructure. We wanted to keep a unique access for the end user of Dassault. We didn't want to say, if you want data perspective, you need to connect here. If you want to go to edit data, you need to connect here. They continue to have the same and unique access to the 3D platform, 3D experience platform. They can access to data perspective, or the real data on-premise by the same way. That is what's very important, and there is no change for the end user. The last point, it is we wanted to secure this capability with NetVibes, as you know, to drill down. What does it mean? When you have a data perspective, you have some highlight issue, highlight object, and you have the capability very quickly to go to the data on-premise in order to work on it, to edit it, to revise it. This capability with this infrastructure was completely secured. Thank you.
Last question. What is the next step in our journey, and can you give us some key figures on yes. The usage?
So, for what is the next step? Well, currently, we have more 10. We have done 8 use cases, but we have 10 in production, more than planned. So that means it was a good point. Because we have launched a project at the beginning of last year, and to currently, end of the year, we have put in place 10 data perspectives in production. We wanted also, from the beginning, to be autonomous in the creating and the maintenance of all these data perspectives. So for the first one, we use services to train and to understand. But now, what we can say, we are autonomous, and we want to be more autonomous. As for other customers, I have understood, today, IT is responsible of the transfer of data or all this data, if you need new data, new sources. But the business side in EDF is responsible to build the data perspective with this data. And that is key. It's a real change in EDF. The business take the lead, is fully on board on the implementation of data perspective. After what we have in terms of, for this year, we have 5 data perspectives in development and 10 data perspectives in the project, in a new business cases. But the last message I will share with you, it is clearly we want to empower users because we are sure that we want with the capacity to execute their daily activities. That means we have demonstrated with NetVibes that the daily activities of users are clearly improved to be more efficient, to do the best design at the first time. Thank you very much.